Finepoint India's ruthless air assault will leave a deep scar on Pakistan. On May 10, 2025, India launched its most decisive military operation against Pakistan in decades, delivering a comprehensive blow that exposed the fragility of Pakistan's nuclear posturing. What began as a calibrated counter-terror operation swiftly escalated after Pakistan fired a ballistic missile reportedly capable of carrying a nuclear warhead towards Sirsa in India, prompting an overwhelming retaliatory response from the Indian Air Force. Nanan for the third consecutive night, Pakistan had launched waves of drones and fighter jets along the western border. But the situation dramatically escalated when a FATAH-2 ballistic missile, with nuclear potential, penetrated deep into Indian airspace before being intercepted over Sirsa in a massive explosion. This blatant escalation crossed a red line. This was when BrahMos entered the picture. Nanan India responded with ferocity. Prime Minister Narendra Modi authorized a retaliatory campaign bigger in scale than Operation Sindoor, targeting Pakistan's military infrastructure and strategic depth. Within hours, the Indian Air Force launched precision strikes on 11 major Pakistani air bases. Armed with BrahMos, Hammer, and Scalp missiles, India devastated critical military assets in Rawalpindi, Bahawalpur, Rahim Yar Khan, and beyond. One of the most significant targets was the Nur Khan airbase near Rawalpindi, home to Pakistan's military transport and air refueling capabilities and in proximity to the Strategic Plans Division, which oversees Pakistan's nuclear command. The message was unmistakably loud: India has the ability to decapitate Pakistan's nuclear command structure. Pakistan was officially in panic mode. Nanan India's strikes were not symbolic, they were surgically devastating. The runway at Rahim Yar Khan was reportedly flattened. The radar base in Chinian was knocked out. Pakistan's air defense was jammed for over 20 minutes, leaving the nation's military assets exposed. Satellite imagery and intercepted defense communications showed panicked responses from Pakistan's top brass. Video footage of explosions across the length and breadth of Pakistan, including its suspected nuclear sites near Kirana Hills and Sargodha, further demonstrated the severity of India's operations. In fact, a statement from the Indian Air Force's DGMO established an unspoken truth. "Thank you for telling us that Kirana Hills houses some nuclear installation. We did not know about it. We have not hit the Kirana Hills, whatever is there," said Air Marshal A.K. Bharti with a telling smirk, suggesting that India perhaps got closer than imagined to doing the unthinkable. That's a good grey area to be in to keep Pakistan on its toes and think twice before wielding its nuclear card. India went from exercising restraint to adopting a gravely hostile, tactical posture, positioning itself to do the unthinkable beyond Pakistan's imagination, all to strike terror in the heart of the terror sponsor, painting an image of what total annihilation could look like for a country with 170 nuclear weapons. Nanaviri Indian missile hit its target. From Nur Khan to Bahawalpur, the strikes proved India's precision and dominance. Meanwhile, not a single Pakistani missile found success, as India's multi-layered air defense shield proved to be impenetrable with God-level efficiency. With this, India not only thwarted Pakistan's brazen attacks on its cities but exposed the hollowness of its arsenal of Turkish drones and Chin's missiles. Indian intelligence intercepted panic communications across Pakistani defense networks, highlighting fears that India would next target the heart of Pakistan's nuclear infrastructure. With key installations already hit, Islamabad was suddenly staring at total strategic paralysis. Nanan India had Pakistan by the throat. Fearing annihilation, Pakistan rushed to the Americans for mediation. A call from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio reportedly urged Pakistan's army chief to get off the accelerator. But India remained resolute it would not enter any mediation process with Pakistan. The Pakistani DGMO, who had earlier ignored India's outreach following the strikes on 9 terror bases, was now calling India just days later. India made him wait over 2 hours before finally granting him an audience. From the outset, India's objective was clear: to eliminate Pakistan's terror hubs and launch pads. Pakistan's daily escalations, aimed at provoking a larger conflict and manipulating the narrative, only exposed its desperation. But India's disproportionate response, striking Pakistani military bases with impunity and intent, forced the DGMO to plead for talks, and that's the big story. A loose understanding of a possible ceasefire was eventually reached. India made 2 things clear: there must be no more terror attacks on Indian soil, and the restoration of the Indus Waters Treaty is off the table. In fact, in his address, PM Modi established 3 red lines that Pakistan and the world will take note of. Any terror attack on India will receive a crushing retaliation. India will never bow to nuclear blackmail. And India will no longer differentiate between the state and non-state actors. A terror-sponsoring state and its terrorist organizations are one and the same. That means Pakistan's military installations are permanently fair game. Nanan, the simple truth is that India's Operation Sindoor was about striking Pakistan's terror hubs, but thanks to Pakistan's escalatory miscalculations, Sindoor went on to pummel 11 of its military bases, including Rawalpindi, Shahbaz, Rahim Yar, Sargodha, Skardu, all symbols of their military power. We made our point loud and clear. That's a solid military win. Swipe left for next video. India's operation was more than retaliation. It was a calibrated demonstration of air dominance, strategic depth, and political will. By establishing air superiority over Pakistan and threatening its most guarded assets, India shredded the myth of Pakistan's nuclear invincibility. The message was clear: aggression will be met with overwhelming force. This was not war. This was absolute dominance. And Pakistan, for all its posturing, was left exposed militarily, strategically, and diplomatically. Views expressed in the above piece are personal and solely those of the author. They do not necessarily reflect NEWS18's views. Latest blogs.